And hello, everyone. Good evening to this very special edition of our Trading Indicators webinar tonight. Why? Well, the reason is quite obvious. It is almost Halloween. So, what better occasion to actually do a Halloween special webinar today? And in the theme of Halloween, we are going to show you how you, as a trader, can mix and match, or in other words, brew your own trading potion. And why this is important, we are going to discover today together in this webinar. Because finding the right indicators that works for you and your trading personality is one key factor to trading success. And what this mix could look like for different trading personalities, we're going to see together. All right, so please be comfortably seated and let's get started. All right, and of course, a quick reminder that this session will be recorded and the recording will be sent to you shortly after the webinar. So if you have to drop off for any reason, don't worry, this session is being recorded. And I also need to remind you that trading does contain substantial risks and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is capital that you actually can afford to lose. When it comes to backtest performance or hypothetical performance, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas and setups and strategies and trades discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for educational purposes only. All right, so with this out of the way, I think it's time to properly introduce myself and ourselves. So my name is Daniel Sinek. I'm one of the founders of Trading Indicators, which is our online store where we feature our flagship trading indicators. We've been doing this and we've been running tradingindicators.com for almost 10 years now. And over the years, we have built almost 1,000 trading indicators for various platforms and for various clients all over the world. But it doesn't stop there. We've also built fully automated strategies. We've built trading dashboards, trading scanners, and trading tools. And over the years, we've also grown. So I started this business 10 years ago together with my business partner, Homa. And Homa's also in the room today. And actually, Homa and I, we go back almost 20 years ago. And in fact, now that I think about it, more than 20 years ago, we met, oh boy, we met back in the day in grad school here in Montreal at university, where we were stuck in quotes together in the same research lab. She was doing her PhD at the time. I was doing my master's, and I guess being together in this small office bonded. And yeah, since then we've created multiple projects and businesses together. And today we also have Niklas with us. Niklas is the mastermind of many of our recent trading indicators. As you will see, they are all very unique and in many senses, very cutting edge and unseen of what you may be used to. All right, so we are tradingindicators.com, and almost everything of what we do is based on what is called technical analysis. Technical analysis is more or less a mathematical analysis or a pattern analysis of your price chart. We believe that fundamental information is almost immediately priced in and therefore visible in your price chart. And by analyzing your price chart, you will indirectly also take into account fundamental information. We believe that trading should be simple, and in fact, trading is simple, but you need to know what to look for. And today, we're going to share with you what we are looking for at trading indicators, but perhaps more importantly, we're going to propose which set of indicators are the best ones for your trading personality. So with that, please be comfortably seated and let's get started. Just one more sentence. If you have any questions, please don't be shy. Put your questions into the Q&A box, and Niklas and Homa, they will monitor the Q&A box and they will bring those questions to my attention as they see fit. There will also be a dedicated Q&A section and this Tickers Roundtable towards the end of this webinar. Okay, so with this, let's get started. So I'm going to switch over my screen real quick, if I can find it. There we go. Okay. So today's topic, it's Halloween. Brew your own trading potion. And for the acute observer probably has also seen that in this case, it will be about brewing your kind of trading success, your secret sauce towards trading success. And we have this little candlesticks into our soup bowl here, just to visualize this a little bit better. Okay. Now, you probably agree with me, but before I even look at the slides, perhaps put into the Q&A box just one word or two words and describe what kind of trader are you? How would you describe your trading personality? Just out of curiosity, just put a word in there. What would describe best your trading personality? So let me look at my Q&A box to see what we have. If I can find it, of course. There we go. All right, so don't be shy. Please put it in there. Scalper, nice. Swing trader, Edward, awesome. Perfect. Trend trading, Chris, I am. Amazing. Okay. Learning as a starting trader, beginning trader, absolutely. Options trader, different asset classes, yeah, stocks, options, and so forth. Amazing. Yeah. And you're absolutely like gap trader, volatility trader. Oh man, so many different answers here. Swing trader, pullback trader, great. Inquisitive trader. Ooh, I wonder what that is. Okay, awesome. Crypto trader, futures trader, options trader. Wow, amazing. And I think one thing that became apparent very quickly is that everybody is different. We get almost, I don't think there's any single answer which repeated itself. And this basically is evidence of what I'm trying to say. Every single trader has his own trading personality. Just like us as human beings, we're all different. We have different preferences, we have different needs, we have different objectives. And guess what? The same holds true for the domain of trading. Every trader is different. And because everybody's different, we also have different needs. And as a result of this, we have a different set of indicators which will work best for our trading personality. But of course, the question is, how do we know which indicators are best for me, for us as traders? All right. So with this, let's elaborate a little bit more of what this could be. And I got so many cool and great answers. Just advance the slides of what different traders we all are. Some traders may follow more the intuition. They may sense what's going on in the market. They may sense where price will go next. And perhaps all they need is a bit of extra confirmation, which supports their intuition. And I believe many of you are probably more of this type. Some traders, and I didn't see this in the list of the Q&As, but some traders may only trade at a certain time of the day, perhaps after work when they get home, trade the futures market, or perhaps before they go to work, or perhaps during lunch break. Yeah, and having limited time of when to trade, has also very specific needs. You will not be able to monitor your trade for hours and hours. That's impossible. Perhaps you need to get in and out very quickly. Or perhaps set up a trade which you do not have to monitor that closely. Perhaps trade the higher time frames. Some of us trade to make a living. Others trade perhaps to just supplement and adjust in quotes to supplement the income. And as a result, we as traders have different risk tolerances. Some are more aggressive, some are more conservative. Some traders are more patient and like to see the trade play out over time and are able to tolerate pullbacks and when price doesn't go in our direction. Yeah. And others may be more aggressive in that sense. So as you can see, there are so many different trading styles out there. And guess what? All these different characteristics will determine of which indicators are best for you. There will be some indicators which perhaps are not fitting your trading style, so you should not be using them. But of course, conversely, will also be indicators, and we're going to show this together today, which will fit perfectly your trading style. All right. Now, with this, let me make a very bold statement. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to make the statement that regardless of what kind of trader you are, it doesn't matter whether you are a swing trader, a day trader, whether you trade to supplement your income, whether you're a trend follower or a counter trend trader, it doesn't matter. Regardless of what, or nonetheless of what kind of trader you are, if you believe in technical analysis, your trading should start with an indicator like Liquidity IQ. Let me explain to you why. Liquidity IQ will do an instant technical analysis of your price chart. It will show you, as soon as it's applied to your chart, what are the important levels? Where is the next resistance level? Where is the next support level? This information is key for any kind of trading. It doesn't matter who you are. The indicator will not give you trade signals, but it will show you which levels are important. And I believe by knowing what levels are important, you can contextualize any trade that you will take in the future. Because, you just know what's going on. You have context. And sometimes having context about your trade is, the final step of confirmation that you will need to either take the trade or perhaps stay on the sidelines. All right. This was a bold statement, but I'm going to back it up. Why these key structural levels that an indicator like Liquidity IQ puts on your price chart is so important. But this may sound very theoretical. So let's be very concrete now. And let's just look at some price charts. And we're going to focus on three distinct patterns while we do this. We're going to look at some bounce patterns. A price may bounce off a support level or bounce off a resistance level. We're going to look at events where a zone or level is broken. And we're going to talk about magnets and magnet setups. I know it sounds cryptic, especially if we do not know yet what this indicator is all about. So let's make it very concrete. Let's check out the charts. So Nicholas, who is here with us today, are you ready to show us some price charts?
Yeah, definitely. Let's take a quick look at Liquidity IQ and explain what it does.
Perfect. It's going to enable screen sharing. There we go. Please take it away.
Sure. Okay, so I should be sharing my screen here with TradingView.
Yes, we can see it. I'm going to hide also my video so you guys can fully focus on the charts.
So like Daniel mentioned, what Liquidity IQ does is when you apply it to the chart, it takes whatever time frame you're on. Here, for example, I'm on Alcoa stock on the daily chart. It looks at higher time frames and it does a multi-time frame technical analysis to find important resistance levels like these red lines right here, as well as support lines like these blue ones down here. And depending on the chart I'm on, I can hop over to the 30-minute and the indicator will adapt. I can also tell it, hey, even though I'm on the 30-minute, maybe I want you to look at the chart as though I'm on the 4-hour and give me really higher time frame TA, technical analysis, resistance and support levels. But what it really does off the bat, and what most traders use it for, yes, looking for these levels, but it also is great at finding potential trade setups. And one of those, as mentioned, was a bounce setup. And what a bounce setup is when price comes up near an important resistance liquidity level, like this level right here on this chart, which I can see is basically between 42.5 and 43.5 bucks. Or when it comes down to a support level, like down here, the indicator tells us that, hey, there's a potential for a trade here where price will actually bounce off this resistance level. Because as we know, when price goes to resistance, oftentimes, that's why it's called resistance, it fails to break through it, and price will just touch the resistance, then bounce off. And this is a great example of one of those short setups right here, because that's exactly what's currently happening on the daily chart. So if you're a swing trader, this is actually, a valid setup right now. Down here, the indicator is telling me, hey, we're up near this resistance. There is a setup called a short bounce, which basically means if we set our stop loss up near that resistance, maybe a little higher than it, and we set a target down near their support, we might be able to trade a bounce off of this level. And this is a great example of such a bounce actually starting to work out. The indicator signaled something called a liquidity capture here, which tells us, hey, we tried to break this resistance. It wasn't breaking. It seems that all the traders, the volume that flew into the market got captured. The liquidity was captured. The level didn't break, and now we're rounding off and bouncing. And the indicator told us way back here, even on this bar, it told us, hey, there's a setup happening here. We might have a short trade. Similarly, let's find another example. Well, down here, I bet you if I rewind the chart, and I might be wrong here, but let me try this out. I'll replay. I'm using the replay mode to go back in time to see what the indicator told me here on this bar. And look what it told me back here. It says, hey, you should pay attention because there's a setup for a long bounce down here, telling us this support level may act as support and price might bounce off of it to the upside. And if we exit replay mode, look what happens. Boom, it bounces offwards. So it finds these bounce setups. It also finds something called a break setup. And let me find a good example. And here's another chart on HG. I don't know what symbol this is. I forget. But look at this. Bounces off of these resistance. Bounces off of this level. Bounce, bounce, bounce. It's great for this. The next type of setup was called a break. And I have some good examples, I think, on Tesla here. I'm on the 15-minute chart. And I've got Liquidity IQ giving me support and resistance levels from the hourly and higher. So even though I'm on the 15-minute chart, it does this instant technical analysis and gives me these really higher time frame resistance and support levels. And right now, look, it's telling me, hey, there's a short bounce setup because we might be bouncing off this resistance and dropping down, which we're doing. But the other setup it finds is called zone breaks, and that's when an important resistance level or an important support level gets essentially powerfully broken with room to run past that level to the down or the upside. So let's find examples of a zone break. Here's a great one right here. This was, I hover my mouse there, a zone break. This was the highest resistance level the indicator saw. It snapped and it says, hey, we might be about to break out. Over here, had a zone break here. It says, hey, we might be going below this. Of course, luck of the draw, it did go below that, but the signals don't always work out, right? I mean, here we had a zone break. It went up, then it came back down. It was a fake out, not a breakout. Similarly here, the breakout failed shortly after. But I think we can see just at a glance that oftentimes these breaks, you look at them, they have a very high rate of success. So this is the second primary setup it finds. And finally, it finds a setup called a magnet setup. A magnet setup is when price is right smack in the middle, and I'm on the 1-hour chart for Amazon here. I've got Liquidity IQ checking the 4-hour chart. So this is like a swing trading setup. It's telling me, hey, there's a setup, a magnet zone setup. And what that is I'm between resistance and support, pretty much right smack in the middle. And one of these levels, either the resistance or the support, is bound to act like a magnet for price eventually. And prices, it can't just stay ranging between this resistance and support forever, right? Eventually, it's going to go to the resistance. Eventually, it's going to go to the support. One of them it's going to go to first. And this is telling us, hey, if we take a trade and use those levels as targets and stops, here's our reward to risk. And this magnet zone setup is the third primary setup that this indicator finds. And right over here is another example on HG, on that daily chart. It's telling us, and look how flat we are here. Something's going to happen soon. It's telling us, hey, we're between resistance and support. You have, some bets you can make, a long trade, you can make a short trade. One of these setups is bound to play out. And Daniel, I think I've covered all three.
Yes, awesome.
You, and I think I'm going to pass the screen back to you now.
Keep it on for a second, Nicholas. Thanks for the walkthrough. And of course, this was just, a quick overview of what this indicator does. And we're going to come back to the charts in a second. But I think it becomes apparent just by looking at this chart how powerful these levels can be. Just being aware of, what are the importance levels. You have a much better understanding of, the nature of your chart, the characteristics of the market right now. And don't you think that this could become useful in almost any trading scenario and almost for any type of trading personality? Just being aware of what's going on, having a bit of situational awareness. And if you agree with me, then you probably also agree with me that, hey, applying this indicator to the chart as your very first step, regardless of your trading personality, is probably not a bad idea. And this is, kind of the reason why I made this very bold statement a bit earlier today in this webinar. All right, so I'm going to switch back to my slides real quick because now we're going to get specific. Oops, I think I'm sharing my wrong screen. Nicholas, which screen do you see?
Yes, I see. I saw Skype, I think.
Oops. Okay, there we go. All right, now we should be back on my slides. Okay, so this was, something I believe that everybody finds use in. But now let's become a bit more particular. But let me lead into this. Even though Liquidity IQ shows you these important levels, and then you can start interpreting what these levels could mean and how price would react to these levels. The indicator by itself, will not give you any specific advice of what to do. It will not tell you, hey, buy here or sell here, close your position here, and so forth. Why? Well, because the indicator is not meant for this. It's meant to be agnostic, showing you from a technical analysis point of view what is going on your price chart. All right. And then it's up to your interpretation. But we can become a bit more concrete. All right. So let me just go to the next slide if I can figure this out. There we go. Yeah, so the indicator itself does not come with buy and sell signals, let alone with any kind of prediction of, if I were to take a trade right now, what would be the estimated odds of winning this trade, of closing this trade out successfully. This is not what Liquidity IQ does. But guess what? There is a whole host of indicators which do exactly this. All right, so let's approach these indicators. All right, so some of these indicators, they may give you entry signals. Hopefully, they will also get you exit signals, because entry into a trade is one thing, but once you're in a trade, you also want to eventually exit the trade. It is just as important. But of course, as you can imagine, depending on your trading personality, depending on your time horizon, your trading style, whenever these entries are taken and the exits are taken, will vary from trader to trader, from trading personality to trading personality. All right. So I believe this is quite apparent. The levels will not change. It's important to know what these levels are. But from trader to trader, it will probably differ of when you want to enter, what kind of setup, and when you want to exit. And this is very specific. It's very individual. Depends on your trading personality. All right. So in order to break this down a little bit, we've seen that there are so many different trading personalities out there. Let's try to, create 3 distinct types. I know this is not an exact science, but hopefully every one of you will be able to find yourself in at least one of these categories. So category number 1, I believe I'm guessing, but I believe most of you, many of you will fall, at least to some degree, into this category. Category number 1 is the intuitive trader, or in other words, the trend following trader. I know at least one of you said, hey, I'm a trend follower. This makes most sense to me. This is intuitive for me. And this is absolutely perfect. And I believe many traders will start out like this. Yeah, a trend following trader. But not every trading style has to be trend following. There could also be a trader which does the exact opposite. He will try to find setups where a trend actually will stop and reverse, because it seems much more counterintuitive, kind of aggressive even, to predict, hey, this trend is stopping right now and it's gonna go the other way. Of course, there's an advantage for this, because you would be one of the very first adopters of this reversal, getting a very great entry point and a very great exit point. Yeah, so this could be another trading personality. And maybe put like a little note into the Q&A box if you see yourself more as a trend follower or perhaps more of a counter trend trader. And there's one more category, and that's kind of our fallback. It's the agile and opportunistic trader. A trader who doesn't really use any trend information as its most important measure of making decisions. It's a trader who sees opportunity in kind of any type of market, whether it's going up or down, whether it's going against the trend or not. If there's a setup, that trader will try to capitalize on that setup. So I believe that most of you will fall into at least one of these buckets or categories which we have laid out here. All right. Now, with that, I'm going to make another very bold claim. I'm going to make the claim that in our Power Bundle 360 suite, that's a suite of 3 indicators, one for each of these categories. I'm going to make that claim that at least one of the three indicators will be the right one for you. Maybe it's going to be more, that's possible, but at least one of them will be the right one for you, especially if you combine it with Liquidity IQ. So why is that? Well, it is because our Power Bundle 360 not only fits into each of these categories, we have one indicator for each of these three trading personalities: trend following, counter trend trading, and opportunistic trading. But we've also equipped each indicator with some very unique features, such as entry signals. Of course, that's not that unique, but our entry signals, they are optimized and they come with win rate prediction. I'm going to see this in a second how this works. Two features which can make all the difference. Because first of all, we will always use optimal parameters. And secondly, the indicator will tell you directly on your chart what are the estimated odds of winning my next trade. That could be, of course, quite useful. And they come with exit signals. So I know entering into trade is one thing, but you eventually need to get out of it. So this is, once again, is something that every trader needs. Along with win rate prediction, auto optimization, I believe that every single trader, regardless of if you're trend following, counter trend trading, or an opportunistic trader, this could be something useful. It's cross-cutting. It doesn't matter which trading personality you are. All right, but let's become concrete once again, and let's start with the first bucket, the intuitive trader, the trend following trader. The trend following trader uses the mantra, hey, the trend is my friend, and the odds that a trend is going to continue are greater than the odds that a trend will reverse. And really, there's some science to that. It's absolutely a legit trading style, and I believe most traders or many traders will fall into this category. All right, so following the trend, betting on the fact that, hey, something is moving in one direction and it's going to continue to move in this direction makes sense just from a logical point of view. The trend is more likely to continue than to reverse. All right, and here's an example of that. So as a trend follower, if things start moving, chances are it's going to continue moving for quite some time, especially if you have momentum, things are moving fast. It's not going to stop right away. It's going to continue to move a little bit like a rolling train. And if you combine this with a technical setup from Liquidity IQ, for example, the break, as you can see it here, of a resistance level. If these two events come together, hey, something is moving, a strong trend is developing, and we just broke above resistance with clear skies ahead. There's no other level above. There's no restriction above, which may, slow down this move. If you combine these two things, I believe that, the resulting move can be very powerful if these two things come together. It's a trend move. You're entering into a trend move into exactly where price is going to, and you have technical support from our Liquidity IQ indicator. All right. So if these two things come together, nice things or good things can happen. Now, let me just elaborate a little bit more on this. Of course, even without 1 to 3 strikes, so 1 to 3 strike is this little cross indicator here, but even without 1 to 3 strike, if we see a resistance level to be broken or price approaching a resistance level, there's no guarantee. Of course, there's no guarantee in trading no matter what, but there's no guarantee that after initial break of resistance, price will not drop right away to the downside again, because some factors are just not taken into account by price breaking above resistance, such as, hey, do we have an increase of volume? Is there enough momentum in this breakout move? Do we have enough volatility? So these factors are not considered just simply by seeing that price breaks above resistance. But we believe when it comes to predict sustained trend moves, these should be considered. All right. So, but guess what? These three factors are part of our 1, 2, 3 strike trend trading indicator, which is part of our power bundle. Another kicker, if you combine a technical break of a support level, you see it here, with a signal of this trend following indicator, good things can happen. And this is what we're going to discover right now. Next. Okay, so this is going to be about adding 1, 2, 3 strike, our trend trading indicator, to your mix of indicators. Okay, so this is how it works. Just by looking at 1, 2, 3 strike, the indicator by itself. This indicator is designed to predict strong trend moves. And it does this by looking at 3 dimensions. This is actually where the name comes from, 1, 2, 3 strike. It looks at directionality, so price needs to start moving either into the upside or the downside. We need to see an increase of volume and an increase of volatility. And if these 3 factors come together, an entry signal is generated. A sign for you, hey, you may want to consider either a long entry or a short entry in this case. All right. And there's one more thing. For every entry, the indicator will also give you exit suggestions. These are these little white dots here, which are situations once you're in a trade where the indicator suggests, hey, things seem to be slowing down a little bit, perhaps book some partial profits, which is always a good idea at some point to ring the register and to put some risk off the table. Exactly what the indicator also shows you by means of these exit suggestions. And on top of all this, this is done in an optimized fashion where the parameters used to predict these entries and exits are optimized automatically by the indicator. And if you combine this with an indication of the estimated odds of winning the signal, you as a trader, as a trend trader, can make a truly informed decision as to, hey, I should take this trade or perhaps I should stay on the sidelines. All right. Now, the indicator can be used standalone the way it is, but guess what? If you combine it, and this goes back to my initial claim, if you combine it with a technical break of a resistance level, for example, for a long trade, or a technical break of a support level, I believe that you will further increase your odds of winning your next trade. Because then you're combining 2 things together. 2 different indicators, Liquidity IQ, and in this case, 1, 2, 3 strike, are predicting the same price move. And if this comes together, I believe your odds will increase that, hey, this trade is going to be successful. And with that, I'm going to give it over to Nicholas, who will elaborate on this concept a bit more. He's going to show you a lot of examples on the slides, on the charts, I should say, where exactly these 2 indicators in combination have predicted a very strong trend move. So Nicholas, please take it away one more time.
Okay, so like we saw, Liquidity IQ creates these zone break signals, right? When major resistance or support levels are broken and there's room to run above or below, depending on if it's a long breakout or a short breakout. So let me ask an easy question then. Which zone break is going to have a higher probability, logically, of there being a follow through afterwards and a trend? Any given zone break, or a zone break that happens nearby in close conjunction with a trend signal that's optimized for high win rates, either shortly after the zone break signal or right before it. And these are the 1, 2, 3 strike signals. Well, of course, it's going to be number 2. This one is going to probably have a higher probability of follow through after the zone break. And on this chart here, I'm just showing an example of the type of thing we're looking for. So this is what we were talking about with zone breaks from Liquidity IQ. This is a zone break signal. And when you have a 1, 2, 3 strike signal that's in the same direction, so this is a breakout upwards long signal, and here there's a 1, 2, 3 strike long entry signal. When you have one of these 1, 2, 3 strike signals nearby, so either immediately after, shortly after, or immediately before, or shortly before the zone break from Liquidity IQ, this is now confluence. You've got multiple things lining up. Not only is a resistance level just being broken for no reason, but it's being broken with optimized readings of volatility, trend, and momentum, indicating that it's going to be a successful blast off from that resistance level. And how is it an optimized signal, or how do we know that this is something to rely on and the confluence means something? Well, because the 1, 2, 3 strike indicator has a confirmed high win rate of 73%. This means that looking back historically over the look back period for the optimization process, 73% of the exit signals, which are these white circles, triggered after a long entry signal, were profitable. So, basically 7 out of 10 times that we get one of these, we're going to get a profitable exit afterwards. We know based on statistics that this is a high probability signal, and this confluence probably means something. So what are we getting when we tie these two together? Well, like I just mentioned, all power bundle indicators optimize for signals with the highest win rates, and they tell you what these win rates are. So that's really the big power in their entry and exit signals. And the power of combining these two is that 1, 2, 3 strike focuses on finding the start of profitable trends that have profitable exits. And Liquidity IQ zone breaks tell you when there's room to run and a key level is being broken. So what are you finding out when you combine these two? Well, one, an important resistance or support level is being broken, and there's a lot of room to run, either above or below. And two, 1, 2, 3 strike is giving you a secondary signal that says, yeah, a trend is starting. So not only do we have room to run, and not only are we breaking through a big level, but we have a high probability, percentage-wise, of getting a profitable exit to the trade. So combined, we have statistic-backed trend entries and exits, major breakout and breakdown opportunities, and we also have key liquidity levels from Liquidity IQ in general to use as targets and stops. So on to the charts. Now let's look at some examples of what I'm talking about. So the first example that we have here is, let me turn off 1, 2, 3 strike, is Tesla on the 15-minute chart. So I'm on the 15-minute Tesla chart here, and I've got Liquidity IQ applied to the 60-minute, the 1-hour chart. And these are those zone break signals from Liquidity IQ, right? This is a zone break, this is a zone break, this is a zone break, and this is a zone break. And we can see a lot of these don't work out, right? I mean, this one right here, that said we're breaking downwards. That definitely didn't happen. We rebounded really quickly. This one worked out pretty well. This one, eventually worked out. And this one really worked out. And here's an example of one that didn't work out, right? We tried to break out. It wasn't a breakout. It was a fake out. And price failed and retraced downwards. But we're looking at these signals without 1, 2, 3 strikes. So let's turn that indicator on. Now that we've got this on the chart, we've got an indicator which since August 31st, and this is the 15-minute chart, so since all the way back, here, 100% of these exits from the long signals have been profitable. So whenever we get a long signal from that point on, we have a good chance, or at least we have some confidence, that these signals have been working out historically. So we saw that some of these zone breaks worked and some of them didn't. Let's look at the one that worked. This one is the one that worked. And what did we have when this one happened? Well, we had exactly what we saw in our slide back here. We had a 1, 2, 3 strike signal in close conjunction with that zone break. 1, 2, 3 strike signal, zone break. That's that confluence combination that we're looking for that tells us, hey, this is a confirmed, probably good zone break signal. There might be a trend coming up soon. And that's exactly what happened. It took off. And if we look at one of the ones that failed, so these two failed, well, where is our long entry signal from 1, 2, 3 strike? There's one all the way back here, but that's not really relevant. That's $20 ago, $30 ago. That's not relevant. We need them in close conjunction. There wasn't one here, so we didn't have that confluence. We could have known that these aren't very high probability signals. Let's look at the other ones we had. These two signals, this one didn't work out. This one worked out, but that was actually, no, this one didn't work out. It happened on this bar. So both of these signals, this one retraced, didn't work out. There was no confluence from 1, 2, 3 strike. This one, there was no 1, 2, 3 strike signal. But this one, it wasn't that nearby, right? It was this is on the 15-minute chart. This was a full day ago, so I'm not really going to count this. But we can see that there was 1, 2, 3 strike signal, then a zone break, and there was some follow through. Right, and I think I have another Tesla chart open somewhere that had a really nice example of one. So let me try to find that. This is the 15-minute chart. Was it this one? Yeah, it was this one. Okay, so this is another example of, maybe it's a little bit late, but still confluence. Short signal, as we're drifting down to a support level, we get that short, price drops down, hovering, 1, 2, 3 strike is still short, then we get the zone break signal. Now we've got one after the other, 2 reasons to go short, not just one, and then this ends up being a spectacular breakdown where price drops massively. This was like a 30% drop on the stock or something. So I hope this made it clear that combining 1, 2, 3 strike with Liquidity IQ is going to make those zone breaks that much more likely to actually continue to run for significant trends.
All right, I'm going to take back the screen. Thank you so much, Nicholas, for this brief introduction of how our 1 to 3 strike indicator combines very neatly with Liquidity IQ. And if you are a trend trader, it could be that this is your potion, your secret mix, which can make the difference for you as a trend trader. But you know what? Not everybody is a trend trader. Perhaps you want to go the opposite. You want to bet on the fact that, hey, I can predict, I as a trader, I have the powers, with the proper tools, of course, I can predict when a trend is going to reverse. And I'm going to, foresee counter trend moves where the trend is coming to an end and will reverse. And of course, you may ask the question, especially if you're a trend trader, hey, why would anybody in his right mind be a counter trend trader? What's the advantage? Well, in fact, there is a distinct advantage because as a counter trend trader, you can be one of the early adopters of a brand new move. And by definition, you will get in early at a much better price and oftentimes with much less risk on the table. And having less risk, because as a trend trader, you may put your stop loss quite wide because you want to give your trend trade a bit of room. As a counter trend trader, you can get away because you're one of the early adopters with a very tight stop loss. And perhaps this is more according to your trading personality. Perhaps you have more the counter trend personality. And, oftentimes also as a counter trend trader, you trade when conditions are exceptional because predicting these counter trend moves when a trend is reversing, that's not easy. And oftentimes you have to be very patient. Oftentimes try many times to find that perfect counter trend entry. But if you nail it, you might be in for a big win. Because as I said, you get in very, very early at a very good price, oftentimes with very little risk on the table. All right. Now, there's a variation of being a counter trend trader. And, that variation is that, hey, perhaps I'm looking at the big picture. I like to see, being with the large trend, the long-term trend. I like to take this into account, but I'm waiting for a pullback within that overarching trend, which, and I'm waiting for this pullback to end and reverse once again in the direction of that overarching trend. This also can be seen as a counter trend move because that pullback, which is going to the downside, may then reverse again and may move to the upside again. This by itself can also be seen as a counter trend move. And many times this gives you a great opportunity to stay with the overarching trend, but get a better entry price. All right. So I hope you see, some of you see yourself with this trading personality. And if you do, we have something special for you. All right. Because if you're combining this counter trend mentality with some awareness of where important levels are on your chart, you can predict to some degree where price is going to bounce. And remember, at the beginning, we discussed the bounce setup. A price may not be able to penetrate a resistance level or to penetrate a support level, and instead will bounce off from it. And this is exactly what we're trying to look for today. And the indicator that we're going to use for that, it is our second indicator in our bundle. It's called the Divergence Cloud Indicator. I'm sure most of you have heard about the concept of divergence, which is basically a disagreement between price move and an underlying indicator. If they show different things, then we have a divergence, a disagreement. And oftentimes, this can be a telltale sign that, hey, the overarching trend or the trend may stop or take a pause and reverse to the opposite. Now, we have developed our own form of divergence in our research lab, which is based on the concept of volatility momentum, a unique combination of contrasting price move with underlying volatility. So it turns out, when we detect this divergence, it can be one of the most telling forms of all divergences. And the indicator does this by printing clouds onto your chart, in addition to the entry signals. And these clouds, you can see them, he can be either reddish for bearish divergence or greenish for bullish divergence. So the indicator will show this on the chart, but this is not enough. You can have divergence case, but more things need to come together for the indicator to actually show you a signal. So the indicator will look out for these divergences, and if other factors are coming together, it will show you an entry signal along with exit suggestions. So here we have the bearish case, which often happens when we have an unsustainable top and which can lead to a big drop afterwards. So fading strength, which may lead in a big downfall. Or for the bullish case, we can see here the green clouds. And once again, we have our entry signals, these big arrows here, and our exit suggestions, which are the arrows, the smaller ones, in the opposite direction. All right, so this is how this indicator works. And now let's have a look of how we, once again, can combine this indicator with our Liquidity IQ indicator, which shows you all these levels. Because probably can already imagine, hey, imagine if we have awareness of levels, predicting when a reversal may happen, and if this coincides with a level at this time, this can make it stronger. This can make this prediction much stronger. And that's exactly what we're trying to do right now. So Nicholas, once again, hopefully with better sound this time, can you take over and show us how we can combine Liquidity IQ with Divergence Cloud? So please take over one more time.
Perfect. Okay. So, and I think 1 second, I wasn't sharing the right one. Okay. So with Divergence Cloud, if you're a counter trend trader, there's two things with Liquidity IQ that are going to offer like the ideal confluence. Number one is when you find an entry that coincides with a bounce, the bounce setup. So here, for example, go to the Liquidity IQ support, liquidity capture, Divergence Cloud signal follow through. And the second one is when there's a zone break, like here, we broke above resistance, and then we get a, well, if you know Liquidity IQ, this is when price retraces back to the level that was broken before taking off. This is also a great moment to take a Divergence Cloud signal. Like here, we got a resistance breakout, then boom, a little pullback. Divergence Cloud says, hey, this is a bullish divergence, buy, and we go up. And also, even when the trend's still running, you still get great pullback signals. And this is also possible, of course, the identical way, just in the short side. So you get a bounce, boom, a nice reversal signal. Here, we had a zone break, broke through support, price pulls back a bit, Divergence Cloud says, hey, go short. And then the trend continues. So let's look at some good examples on this chart. So this one, I was like, wow, this is such a perfect set of examples here. This is on KSS, which I think is Coles. And on this chart here, I'm on the 1 hour. So this would be for swing traders. I've got Liquidity IQ on the 4 hour. And Divergence Cloud, I can see, hey, it's almost 70% winning on the long and short side. Right here, this is that perfect trade I was just talking about, where price flies up to resistance, then Liquidity IQ says, hey, there's a short bounce opportunity here. And what happens when there's a short bounce with Liquidity IQ? Well, you wait for a liquidity capture that tells you, hey, price is not breaking resistance. It's probably going to fall off from that resistance. That's what happened. Then 3 bars later, 4 bars later, Divergence Cloud with the 7 out of 10 chance of winning says, hey, now it's time to go short. Price is reversing. And look what happens. An awesome follow through. Down here now, excuse me, down here now we have a short signal. Maybe that's going to lead to a breakdown. This isn't the kind of confluence we're looking for. This is the opposite. Right here, we finally have a long bounce set up, and Divergence Cloud's not agreeing. That's not confluence. Back here is confluence. So price came down to support. Another example right here. See this long signal? We never had a liquidity capture, so it's not ideal. Down here, this is ideal, and it worked out. We came down to a support level. Boom, liquidity captures at support. Liquidity IQ is saying, hey, the support is holding. This might be a long bounce. Then we go up, a little pullback. Divergence Cloud says this is that pullback entry. Price is going to reverse. We enter. We do have a little bit more of a pullback. It never breaks that support. You can use Liquidity IQ. You see the structure of the market for stops and targets. Then boom, we fly up. Right here again, liquidity capture, short, falls down. And one more example before I snap back to the slides, I think was on the Dow. Right here, this is one of those pullback retraces we were talking about. Actually, 2 of them that are just awesome. Zone break, and this just happened. This is on the 5 minute. I think this is, well, not just happened, actually. I correct myself. That was like 2 weeks ago. But zone break, we broke through resistance. We fly up. We missed we're late to the party, essentially. We missed whatever it is, we missed the train. Price runs up, then we have a pullback. Boom, Divergent Cloud says that's a bullish pullback. You can get in here, high probability of the trend continuing. That's what happens. Here, look, the exact same thing twice in a row. This one didn't work out so well, but this one was the exact same. Look at that pattern. It is literally so repeatable. And that's what's so great about these is you'll see these confluence patterns all the time. And let me check, Daniel. I don't know if I have a slide here to run over after that. So on to the chart. So I'll pass it back to you, Daniel.
Thank you, Nicholas. All right. And sorry for the switching back and forth, but we decided to tag team the presentation today with Nicholas and I. So let me chime in a little bit more on what Nicholas just said. Being aware of where support and resistance is can really amplify any counter trend or pullback signal the Divergence Cloud will give you. And you know what? As a counter trend trader, it is not easy to predict these reversals. No, it's definitely not as easy as trend following, but if you're right, you might be in for a big, big move. And by combining our Divergence Cloud indicator with an awareness of these levels, you can make more qualified predictions when a trend actually may come to an end, especially when price is approaching either a resistance level. Chances are higher that, hey, it may reverse. If this is combined with a bearish signal of Divergence Cloud, you can imagine, this will increase your chances. Or vice versa, if price is going down and you get a signal of Divergence Cloud, once again, you have confluence, you have confirmation. Two indicators are predicting the same price move, therefore increasing your chances that this move will actually plan out. So we believe that, this combination can be perhaps, a winning combination for any counter trend trader. All right, but we have one more trading personality that I would like to discuss, and that personality is, I think, more like my own personality, so to say. It's the opportunistic trader, a trader that can find setups in any kind of market conditions. When prices are moving, when things are starting to roll, that trader jumps into the market. It doesn't matter if it's against the trend, with the trend, no problem. As long as things are moving, we can jump into the market. And we have one indicator which is designed to exactly this kind of trading style, which is our Volatility Crusher indicator. An indicator is designed to detect sudden moves, or in other words, breakout moves. It's a breakout indicator. And as you will see, and I believe somebody said there's an echo again. I hope this is an old message.
Yeah. Very old message, Daniel.
Ah, perfect. Okay, great. And as you will see, if you combine this breakout indicator designed to detect these explosive and quick moves with some awareness of where important levels are, you once again can amplify your chances of having a winning trade. Sometimes we refer to our Volatility Crusher indicator, which is the name of our breakout indicator, as the Swiss Army knife for this kind of trading, because it's so flexible. It works in any market condition, whether things are trending up or down, whether it's sideways. Whenever you have a sudden move, it doesn't matter if it goes against the trend or with the trend, the indicator will pick up this move. And it will bet on the fact that, hey, if a sudden move happens, a breakout move happens, price will continue in the direction of the breakout for quite some time. And this is where you get your edge. And as you will see, it will integrate seamlessly with our Liquidity IQ indicator to further strengthen your setups. All right. So how this works and how the profit targets of the indicator and the trading stop, which is a unique feature of it, come together, we are going to see now in the following. So here's an example of that. The indicator signals that a breakout move just happened. You can see this bigger bar here. And the idea is when such, in this case, a bullish move happens, you will jump in the expectation that this breakout move will continue in the direction of the breakout for quite some time. There's a trading stop, you can see it here below, which locks in your profits as things progress. And you know, and you have two targets. Target number one, it's a bit closer, and target number two, which is a bit further away. So here we hit both targets. Once again, afterwards, we have another big bar, a breakout move. In this case, it was with the overarching trend. We hit target one, target two, and down here we have our trading stop. And of course, the same thing also works for the bearish direction. So a sudden move, the indicator gives us a signal, and the expectation is that price will continue to move in the direction of the breakout for quite some time. All right. Now, let's see how we can now combine Volatility Crusher, which flags these breakout moves, with our Liquidity IQ indicator. And as we will see, Liquidity IQ will set the field by showing us where are the important levels, whereas Volatility Crusher will make those plays. So I'll show you these entry signals where you can jump into a trade while being aware of perhaps when to get out when price is approaching an important level, or perhaps when not to get into a trade when we are going against an important level and price may bounce off from it. And how this all works, we're going to see together now. And once again, we're going to pass it over to Niklas. Niklas, are you ready one more time to give us a small demo of how Volatility Crusher, our breakout indicator, integrates very nicely with Liquidity IQ?
Definitely. Okay, let me share my screen. So I'm actually going to start here on this slide before I jump over to the charts, just to point this out. So here, for example, we got support down here, resistance here. Volatility Crusher says, hey, we're blasting upwards. This is a magnet zone setup on Liquidity IQ. So we have a logical reason here to think, hey, we're probably going to go up to that resistance. And that happened. And over here, if you're a Liquidity IQ user, you'll see, hey, we usually don't have a setup for this. Here, there was a zone break. Price goes up. It starts to kind of chill out here. And then Volatility Crusher comes in with a short signal. So we might be able to infer, hey, I bet we're going to retrace down to the resistance that was broken, which just happened here, which is what we mean by Liquidity IQ is setting the field. It's like putting the borders on the chart of, the important key zones. And then Volatility Crusher is telling us, how we navigate through those zones. So if you're one of those scalping traders, and I'll open up a chart now, or an opportunistic agile trader, you're not biased to any particular direction. I think this is probably the best combination. So here on this chart, I am on, and these are just insanely good signals. I was lucky that these happened leading up to the webinar tonight. This is on the 15-minute chart on NASDAQ futures. Right now, this is the current chart, and I've got Liquidity IQ on the 1 hour, and Volatility Crusher over here has really nice win rates. 75% of the time, it hits a target on the long side, 80% on the short side. And what did we just see here? Well, on NQ, the most recent signal was right here. Now let's see how we would interpret this. And the idea again is Liquidity IQ is telling us, keep an eye on these important levels. And then Volatility Crusher is giving us these nice explosive trade ideas. So at the market open today, right at 9:30, let's look at the pre-market here and what you can do on Volatility Crusher. Actually, I'm going to do it so it's a little clearer. We can turn off what we call compression zones. I'm going to turn off these little boxes here. So in the pre-market hours, so overnight, leading up to the market open, we were hanging out up here above this key resistance of about 20,670. Then right at the market open, we had a down bar, and Volatility Crusher came in with a short signal, which had an 8 out of 10 win rate historically. We know, looking at these two together, what's happening here in terms of confluence. Price tried to break above this resistance, failed, it's coming back down, and then we have an explosive loss of that level. We drop down. And when that happens, Volatility Crusher says, hey, this is a good short idea. You can put your target down here, and stop up here, and trailing stop starting up here. And with that in place, historically, this wins 80% of the time. And that's what happened in this case. We actually, that's a big move. We fell all the way down here. And look how Liquidity IQ gave a great idea to start exiting here, because right when price came down to the support, hey, buying power started coming in. And we're slowing down, but this was a great signal. Similarly over here, we are in a magnet zone, kind of. Let me just open this up. So we're closer to the upper end of the range. We're near resistance. This is support down here. And we're starting to drift up. And then Volatility Crusher comes in and says, hey, we're getting explosive up here. Volatility is increasing. This is a good long trade opportunity with a high win rate. And it sets its first target right here, its second target there. And what happens? We did fly up to that resistance. Similarly, back here, look, and it's kind of like 1, 2, 3 strike when you think about it, when you look for this confluence between signals. With Volatility Crusher, you don't even need the signals. You really just want to be looking at the levels. But here, zone break attempt, then boom, Volatility Crusher comes in with the long signal, high win rate. Now you know it's really taking off. And look, it did take off. It flew up almost 300 points within within an hour and 45 minutes. And one other chart for this, I think I have one. Let me just see if it's in my other tab here. I think I had one on YM, was that just some crazy looking signals that worked out a lot recently that are a little bit different. So here, we have some similar examples to what we just saw before. So number one, right here, this is really nice, is Volatility Crusher giving a breakout and then a zone breakout from Liquidity IQ on the exact same, or the bar right after. And look at that. It just flew up a 300, 400, 600 point move almost on Dow. Here we have a signal that was a valid trade idea, but it didn't end up working out, right? Price came up here. Well, we had a breakout. It started to drift. Volatility Crusher said, hey, we just had an explosive down bar. This was right at the market open. It didn't play out. We got stopped out here in a trailing stop at the as resistance got broken here. But this again is the exact same setup, and it's not the same chart. It's just these things are repeatable patterns, right? Zone break, start to lose steam. Volatility Crusher comes in with a short signal, and then we fall back through the resistance that was broken. That's exactly what happened here on a totally different chart. Zone break, come up here, start to lose steam, short signal from Volatility Crusher, we lose the resistance level that was broken, and we fall down, hit both of our targets. And look at the win rates here, 91%, 69%. Down here, this is why we called it the opportunistic and agile mix. It does all of the setups, right? But it's more for traders who don't want to take a slower paced trade. You can see these are very fast trades. They end, very quickly. Some of them 3 bars, 10 bars on the 15-minute chart at least. Here, we came down to support on Liquidity IQ. Tons of liquidity captures. This is a long bounce setup. We get this big candle bouncing off. The next candle, Volatility Crusher, is agreeing, saying, hey, yeah, we're getting a big explosive move here off of this support. And bam, that long trade ended up running, 450 points all the way up to resistance eventually. So I hope this makes it, all these trades don't always work out. Of course, that's why we don't have 100%. But I hope you can see that it really does. It's very agile in that sense, and it can be combined with Liquidity IQ and just a logical consideration of the levels that are nearby for finding all sorts of trades and on all sorts of time frames. I think I just have one last one I want to show, Daniel. I think it was on NQ 5-minute. Then I'm going to pass it right back to you. Is right here. Put this over on the optimized. I think it was at this one. Oh, this is on the 5-minute chart. So on NQ, we saw the 15-minute. We caught that huge breakdown. Look, the same stuff on the 5-minute, but even higher win rates, 92 and 86. Right before the market open, it gave us a short, hit both its targets. Market open, another short, boom. We had a huge 200-point short today on this. So really excellent. And that's all from me. I know I'll pass it back to you.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Nicholas, for this quick walkthrough of how we can combine Volatility Crusher with our Liquidity IQ indicator. And I'm going to share my screen once again, and now I'm going to stay on my screen. Perhaps later on, we're going to have a bit of a symbol round table. So if you guys have any symbols in mind, please don't be shy and send them to us and to the Q&A box of Zoom. But what we're going to do next is I'm going to show you of whether you are a trend trader or perhaps a counter trend trader or perhaps an opportunistic trader, how you can now get your own personalized potion, your own personalized mix of indicators that will support your trading style. All right. And because it's Halloween, we decided to put together a very special offer to get you started with your very own personalized potion, your own mix. So this is how it's going to work. You can choose. Well, first of all, you're going to get Liquidity IQ. So, indicator which will do an instant technical analysis of your chart. It will show you right off the bat where are important support and resistance levels. And I hope that during this webinar we showcased that being aware of these levels can make a big difference. So you're going to get this indicator because I think this is a base for every trader. Regardless of your trading personality, you should have this indicator on your chart. All right, so that's step one. Step two, we're going to give you the choice to choose between either 1, 2, 3 strike, our trend trading indicator, divergence cloud, our indicator which looks for reversals and pullbacks, or our volatility crusher indicator, which finds these sudden explosive moves. You can pick and choose your poison in that sense. And if you want to find out how you can do this, simply go to tradingindicators.com/brew. Now, here's how this deal can work. We're going to offer this special mix of indicators, first of all, for life. So you never have to pay a single cent again. These indicators are yours to keep, first off. Secondly, we're going to offer you a very special price for the mix that you have in mind. As a reminder, the mix consists of the Liquidity IQ indicator, the one that draws the support and resistance levels on your chart. Normally, we sell it for $1,297. Today, you're going to get it at a much better price. So that's step one. Step two, you choose whichever power bundle indicator you would like to have. There's an option for you on the checkout form where you can indicate, hey, I would like to have 1, 2, 3 strike because I'm more of a trend trader. I would like to get divergence cloud. I'm more of a counter trend trader. Or I'd like to get volatility crusher because I'm looking for this kind of trades. You just pick and choose them. Normally, just the indicator, just the individual indicator is $497. Today, you're going to get it at a much better price. And in addition to all this, we're going to add a few or quite a few additional bonuses into the mix. So you're going to get access to our weekly members sessions, which are exclusive sessions only to our members. They take place every single Tuesday, every week at 12 p.m. Eastern. These are all recorded. So should you not be able to make it, you can watch the recording afterwards. These are great opportunities for everyone to ask questions, to learn about tips and tricks, and just to see our live market analysis. So we're going to add this one in. We're also going to add, or you're also going to be invited to our next boot camp, where we take our time and explain in much more detail how Liquidity IQ and our power bundle indicators can be combined. So this is going to take place November 15 at 12 p.m. Eastern. You also get access to our masterclass on how to use the power bundle indicators. You will get an ebook on trading breakouts and 2 video guides. And today we're going to offer all these 3 things together: Liquidity IQ, the power bundle indicator, and all these extras for only $997 at a huge discount. It's a limited time offer. And if you want to take advantage of this, it's tradingindicators.com/brew. So if you go to this link, you can see all the details of this one more time presented in more detail. So tradingindicators.com/brew. Okay, so you may ask yourself, maybe I don't just want to have one of these indicators of our power bundle indicators. Maybe I would like to get all of them. All right, so we were thinking about this case as well. This is why we came up with a second package. It's the same link, but it's a second package, which will get you everything, all the indicators mentioned here. So our Liquidity IQ indicator, but also all of our power bundle indicators: 1, 2, 3 strike, divergence cloud, and volatility crusher. Normally, these as a bundle cost $997, but today you're going to get the entire package for only $1,497. So Liquidity IQ, the power bundle indicators, and all these extras, also for life. So there's a 4th option on this page where you can indicate, hey, I would like to get everything, the whole 9 yards, which, I think will offer you the greatest flexibility because it counters for all your different trading styles. And maybe you trade one market in a certain way and perhaps other markets in different ways. And if you do, for example, you could really benefit from getting all these indicators in a combined manner. All right. So with this, I'm going to open up the room now for questions, and there will also be time for, for some symbols. So let's see what questions we have. So let me quickly have a look.
We have one, Daniel, if you don't mind if I answer it. I was checking it out before. It's about Liquidity IQ, and they wanted to know what settings do we recommend for Liquidity IQ scalping. So if you're talking about 5-minute, 1-minute charts, we actually did some of that in our last Lunch and Learn. I really suggest setting Liquidity IQ on the 5 or 1-minute chart to the chart time frame or the 15-minute chart time frame. If it's any higher than that, chances are on the 1-minute or the 5-minute, you're going to be waiting decades for a price to ever visit those levels in a usual trading day. So I would suggest chart time frame or the 15-minute.
Perfect. Thanks, Nicholas. I see a couple of questions here from users who are wondering, oh, I already have some of these indicators. How can I, add the other ones on? Well, the easiest way to find out, John and also Jerry, send me an email. I'm going to have our contact details in a second. Send us an email and we're going to work out something which takes into account that you already have purchased some of these indicators. So no problem there, but simply send us an email for that. All right. Okay, perfect. And Nicholas, I believe there were some
I have
symbols
actually, there was
requests.
2 symbol requests. There was, I think it was gold. There was gold and SMCI.
Perfect. So Nicholas, perhaps pull it up on your chart one more time and let's see. We're going to get to some other questions later on. Actually, John, before we do this, Nicholas, let me keep this slide on for a second. This actually, I think it's a very important question. He's wondering, for which platforms do we offer this special bundle? Great questions. So, John, currently we offer it for 6 different platforms, which are TradingView, NinjaTrader, MotiveWave, Thinkorswim, MT4, and MT5. And if you go to the page, you actually can choose for which platform you would like to have the bundle. Perfect. So I hope this answers this. I'm just going to look through some other questions. Yeah, Kevin, also for you, please send me a note because Kevin says, oh, I'm already having the power bundle indicators. What if I want to add on Liquidity IQ? Great question. Kevin, send me a note and we're going to work something out. Of course, we're going to take into account that you already have some of these indicators. All right. Okay, and Jerry, your questions. Jerry wants to know, I'm just looking through these questions here. Will this license, sorry, include the indicators for all the platforms that I just mentioned? No, that's not. You have to pick your platform. You have to pick either TradingView or Thinkorswim or whatever the platform may be. So you have to pick. If you want an additional license, we can offer you something. But this would just be for one platform. For any additional platform, there will be an extra fee involved. It's going to be less, but simply reach out to me to see how much that would be. But what we do, Jerry, is that for most platforms, let's say for TradingView or NTA or MotiveWave, we offer the option to switch a platform. Let's say, hey, I was on TradingView, but I want to go to NinjaTrader. Or I was on NinjaTrader, I want to go to TradingView. You have the option to switch over, and we do this free of charge. All right. So I hope this answers this. All right, great. Okay, perfect, Nicholas. That was these were the technical questions about this offer. Now let's look at some symbols together. So please take it away and share your charts one more time, Nicholas.
Sure thing. Okay. So you should be able to hear me. So I'm going to start off with the first request, which was for SMCI on the 15-minute from John. So let me share my screen over here. Okay, you should be able to see my trading view. So this is a tricky chart because, the request was for the 15-minute chart for the last 24 hours. Well, our indicators optimize over thousands of bars. And for the last 24 hours on 15 minutes, there's only been 20 bars. And this was a crazy day. I don't know why this stock dropped, but I'll show you how I looked at it to find something reasonable out of it. So number one, I'm on the 15-minute chart here. We can see what has happened in the past 24 hours. Something nuts, obviously, right? I don't know anything about this stock. It's semiconductors or something like that, but massive zone break, right? We were at $50 24 hours ago. Now we are almost 50% down in the 30s. So a huge drop. On Liquidity IQ now, there's a zone break. Not much we could do here, right? I mean, where is the nearest support? Where's the nearest resistance that's way far away? So what you would do here in the first step on the 15-minute chart is you would open up the settings from Liquidity IQ and set it to a higher time frame. So clearly setting it to the chart time frame is not finding anything relevant. It's not looking high enough. So maybe I'll hop over to something like, hey, because what I'm trying to find out here is, hey, is there any support down here that maybe I could try to buy cheap shares at, or maybe there's a new support that'll break, this kind of thing. So I'll try a way higher time frame, right? Because I don't see anything near this type of level. So I select the 4-hour. Now we get a different picture. So what I see here now is actually something interesting that could have made an interesting trade this morning, at least on the 15-minute. What happened this morning is price gapped down and we had a zone break right through this support level. Now that Liquidity IQ is set to be looking way higher time frame on the 4-hour, it knows now about support and resistance levels from like the daily and the weekly chart. So ever since the beginning of October, or actually the beginning or midway through September, it knew that this is a key level, which predicted this bounce back here. It told us about this support over here, then price bounced. Then starting at this point in time, that became a new support level. And what happened this morning? Well, we gapped down, got a zone break, and then we had that setup called a zone break retrace, which basically is when price breaks through a level like this, don't go short now because we gapped down, whatever it was, $20 a share. You're way too late to the party. It's probably going to retrace a bit, which means go back in the opposite direction from which it came. And then once it retraces to the broken level, then you go short. And this was such a great example of that. So short break, that's right at the market open. Within the next 30 minutes, it tries to regain that support that it lost. You should start shorting right here, and then boom, it drops down. If we look at any of the power bundle indicators, so 1, 2, 3 strike, divergence cloud, I bet you most of them are just going to be signaling a short trade right after the open. So this right here, actually, this is so excellent. Short zone break, then the next bar, 1, 2, 3 strike short signal. So now we have confluence. We can use the Liquidity IQ level as a stop loss, as a target. And basically, if we replay back to that morning on SMCI, volatility is going to be super high. So Liquidity IQ is going to put a big block around here telling you, hey, things are crazy. So you can expect price to kind of range between here. So what I would do here, zone break, 1, 2, 3 strike signal, go short, basically on a short zone break signal, decent short efficiency. And I'd set my stop loss right up here. Like, this is perfect. Actually, it lines up with a round number, $40. So I'd set my stop loss at $40 and go short and just see what happens. If we check Divergence Cloud, look, Divergence Cloud also has a short signal on that same bar. And just like in the slides here on Divergence Cloud, just bear with me 1 second. Don't have a seizure here. On Divergence Cloud, this was that setup. Zone break retrace, then a Divergence Cloud signal. What happened? Zone break retrace, Divergence Cloud signal. So that's a perfect example right there of what we were talking about. And look, Volatility Crusher also goes short here. But this is really exceptional action, right, John? Like, this is a nuts day.
And Nicholas, real quick, some users have told us, hey, what happened with that particular stock today? Their CIO apparently resigned today. This is what caused this massive drop. So something fundamental, obviously, is going on. Some corporate news came out. Okay, let's move on and let's look at the classic. Let's look at the E-mini futures, Nicholas. What do we see there today?
Sure. Okay. ES, that's ES, right? Yeah, E-mini futures right here. So I'm going to start off with Liquidity IQ. So what do you want to look at? Let's maybe look at the 5-minute. That's a nice day trading time frame. Whoa, actually, that's because I'm on replay mode. I was thinking that was real time. Yeah, this looks more like reality. So now that I'm on the 5-minute time frame, I don't want to be looking at the 4-hour levels from Liquidity IQ. I'm going to pop that over to and then if I'm scalping, I did say before I'd look at the 5-minute or the 15-minute. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's assume we're trying to scalp. Let's put it on the 15-minute and see what we see. So we've been really ranging here between 58,880 or 5,880 and 5,8, let's say 30 this week. So from Monday going forward and kind of in that range, the 5,800s for the past week. Nice bounce. These liquidity captures are signals of bounces. So let's see what the individual indicators would have given us and if any of the setups we spoke about are happening here. So let's check out the optimized settings on 1, 2, 3 strike. So on 1, 2, 3 strike, our bread and butter was a signal and then a zone break, right? So let's see if any of that has happened recently. So what I want to see is, let's say, a short signal and then a zone break, or a long signal, then a zone break upwards. I don't see any of that happening here. Maybe this one, but this short signal is quite a ways away. That's like 40 points away. The nearest example of the type of confluence we were talking to look out for is right here. Long zone break, then a long 1, 2, 3 strike signal, then a zone break. And boom, that was an excellent signal. And it told us 1, 2, 3 strike, hey, you should probably be exiting up here. These were suggested exits. 2 of them were down here, but then 2 of them were up here. So that's pretty decent. I'm trying to find an example maybe where this failed. This obviously worked out, but you know, they're not so close. It was nice confluence, short signal, then a zone break, had a huge drop, but not a perfect example. Let's take a look at divergence cloud, maybe volatility crusher. Let's look at that. Volatility crusher, put it on the optimized settings. And now remember with volatility crusher, this is the scalping indicator. Basically the idea with this one is whatever it says to do, just check the levels and see if they kind of make sense. Here, what was happening? We were drifting down towards support. This was a near pivot. We lost that pivot actually right on the signal bar, and it's saying, hey, go short. You might be able to make a nice scalp as we go down to the support level here. It's exactly what happened. It hit both targets. Then Liquidity IQ came in with a liquidity capture. What does that mean? It means support's not breaking. There's a ton of trading volume, but it's just being captured and sucked up and soaked up into the market. That's usually a sign of a bounce, which is what happened. And divergence cloud is our bounce indicator that we're supposed to look for confluence with. So let me put that on and just apply it to the optimized settings and see if we had any long here. We didn't have any, so no real confluence signal coming. There was one over here, but that's, you know, way after the fact. A nice signal that divergence cloud, like we said, is tailored to find is right here. So price, a lot of liquidity captures at this resistance. What do those mean again? It means that the level's having trouble being broken. And over here, we had a liquidity capture, then a big, long, fat red candle. We liquidity capture, resistance doesn't break. We drop down, then we stair step another drop down. Then divergence cloud comes in and says, yeah, we're reversing downwards. So this is that confluence setup we're looking at. Fails to break resistance, divergence cloud signal. Boom, we fall down. Another sign of like market awareness is right here. This is a good example of maybe an iffy divergence cloud signal. We saw there was a resistance right here, 5884.5 about, right? Yeah, 5884.5. Here, there's a liquidity capture. Price is having trouble breaking this resistance. We go up to it, we kind of hover, and then there's a divergence cloud signal. That's not an optimal divergence cloud signal. We got 2 levels of resistance sitting right above us. So this is just a good example of using liquidity IQ to mix and combine with these indicators. This is actually the example right here of one of our confluence setups. Don't know how it'll play out, right? We already came down a lot very quickly. It might be a retracement, but we had a zone break. We flew down a tiny bit after we opened in the aftermarket hours. Then we had a retracement, a pullback in the short trend up to support. And now divergence cloud is saying, all right, now we're reversing back down again. So we had a zone break, came up. Now divergence cloud is like, yeah, we're not going up anymore. Now it's telling you to go short. So whether that's going to play out or not, you know, remains to be seen. But that's one of the confluence setups we were looking for. Any other symbols we might want to look at?
Yeah, Niklas, there are some more. But before we do this, let me quickly grab the screen back one more time because I would like to reiterate real quick. Where is it? There we go. Some of the questions regarding this offer. So we did get quite a few or receive quite a few messages to say if I have one of these indicators, as mentioned before, I'd like to add on the other ones. The easiest way to do this is to simply reach out to us, send us a quick note. We're going to get back to you today with the options of what you can do. And while I'm looking at this, Edward wanted to know, and this is more a question for our weekly member session. So this is included in the offer. He wanted to know, if I see a signal on the daily time frame, for example, one that was shown by our Liquidity View dashboard, that's a different product. How would I execute on that signal on the lower time frames? And this is exactly the kind of questions which we will answer in our weekly member sessions. These are meant for these more, specialized questions. Everybody gets a turn to ask these questions. Oftentimes, I bring them up in the live session. We're going to go through these setups. So Edward, please join us if you're a member already on Tuesday, where we will discuss exactly this. So thanks, Edward, for that question. And perhaps just to be sure, send me also a note by email so I don't forget to cover this particular question in our Tuesday session. And one more thing about our about what's actually included in this package. So of course you will get our liquidity IQ indicator. I mean, this by itself, I think it's an indicator which can make all the difference. Okay, that's number one. Then you will get your choice of 1 to 3 strike, divergence cloud, or volatility crusher. You can mix and match them, or you can pick all of them for also a special price. That's cornerstone number 2. And cornerstone number 3 are a lot of extras, such as our lunch and learn sessions every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. These are all recorded, and you also get access to all prior recordings. Then you will be invited to our next bootcamp on the combination of Liquidity IQ and the Power Bundle indicators. Once again, we're going to be much more technical on those ones. We're going to walk you through the settings, how you can customize the indicators, how you can scan for setups if the platform allows it, how you can set alerts, how you can create your watch lists, and so forth. So this will be covered in this bootcamp, and the objective is to get everyone up to speed, no matter what your poison is, what your potion is. Okay, so this will take place November 15 at 12 p.m. and you will be invited to this bootcamp. And then, of course, we also have learning resources to get you started, video guides, our Power Bundle Masterclass, which gives you all the details that you need to know about the Power Bundle indicators, and our ebook on cracking the breakout code. So all these are included in either the package where you pick one indicator for a total price of $9.97 for life, or the package where you will take all 3 indicators for $1,497. All right, so let me see if there are, yes, one question about Think or Swim. So for Think or Swim, you will get, of course, these 3 indicators, but the optimization is manual on Think or Swim. So you would have to tweak the parameters manually, but you can always observe by looking at the win rates of whether a change of parameters was beneficial or perhaps counterproductive. And unfortunately for Think or Swim, there's no other way to do it. This is because of a limitation of the platform itself. And Chris, he asked the question, what happens when Nicholas hovered over?
I got to that, Daniel.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
He wanted to know if there's on TradingView, there's tool tips when you hover, but there isn't on Motive Wave. It's not possible.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Perfect. So let me see. We're going to get back to our charts in just a second. We're going to see if there are some other questions. Yeah, a question about what is the time frame of recommendation, I guess, when you want to use Liquidity IQ to find swing trade levels. Yeah, because you can adjust Liquidity IQ to any type of level granularity that you want. So if you're a scalper, you want to, have your levels more fine-grained. If you're a swing trader, which is more the longer time frame, you want your levels to be a bit more coarse-grained. So what we suggest for Liquidity IQ is to use the daily time frame as your reference time frame for finding swing trades. So I hope this answers this. And we can also discuss this in a bit more detail in our next Lunch and Learn session. Kevin wants to know, will these indicators be available for wealth charts? Well, Kevin, actually the Power Bundle indicators, these are available for wealth charts already. And if you're interested in getting a deal on just these Power Bundle indicators for wealth charts, just once again, reach out to us. Liquidity IQ is currently not available on wealth charts. This is also due to a limitation of that trading platform, which currently is not able to do the required multi-time frame analysis, which this indicator performs in the background. But yeah, thanks, Kevin, for that question. All right, perfect. Okay, Nicholas, are you ready to take perhaps maybe 2 or 3 more symbols to cover those?
Yeah, actually, I already have a chart set up here. So we had an anonymous question asking if these indicators work on Forex. So I'm going to show a Forex symbol here, right here. And just an important thing everybody should know, it doesn't matter if it's crypto, Forex, it works on any asset type. It's totally agnostic, independent of asset type. So it's just based on basically if your chart has candles and potentially volume, and it doesn't need volume even. So long as there's candles on the chart, all these indicators are going to work as expected. So here, I'm looking at, let me just make sure I got not too many indicators. I'll start with divergence cloud. So here on this chart, I've got liquidity IQ on the 15-minute. This is USD JPY, so USD versus Japanese yen. And yeah, we can see, look, the indicators load, does the exact same stuff. Here, for example, divergence cloud signal, zone break. Down here, we come down to support. That's one of the setups we were talking about where there's a long bounce with a divergence cloud telling us, hey, we're going to reverse off that support. The indicators, yeah, they load and they work just like on any other asset type. And here I've got, whoa, this was a crazy, because the data ends. I don't have a lot of Forex data. But yeah, so you can expect the indicator to work just like on any other chart. It's going to give you nice signals, and it's just based on the price action. Here's a long trade, a short signal that got stopped out immediately. Here's a short signal back here. And that question that we had about there's no other symbols, Daniel, was about time frames. And Daniel said if you're swing trading, and you asked if you wanted the 4-hour, Daniel said use the daily. The question which time frame to use, just like that's the right answer, daily for swing trading, but it's also just depends on what time frame are you on, right? So if you're on the 1-minute chart, don't be looking at the daily levels most likely. Maybe you look at the 15-minute. If you're on the 15-minute, don't be looking at the 1-minute. Look at the 1-hour. You just want to try and get something higher than your chart time frame, generally.
Sorry, Nicholas, real quick, there's one more request from Mosh, one of our longtime users. What about a stock called Soundhound, SOUDN, yeah, exactly that one.
Okay, so I'm going to start off. Is there a time frame specification, Daniel? Okay, so maybe we'll look at it at a swing trading perspective. So maybe I'll look on the 1-hour and I'll set liquidity IQ. Let's start off on the 4-hour. Okay, so what do we see on this chart from the 1-hour perspective? And maybe let's go further, right? Let's go to the 4-hour and set liquidity IQ on the daily. Quite a wild symbol, I guess, because I think it said it's an AI stock. What's happening here? So this is a relatively new stock. It only IPO'd in 2022. It started off here, flew up. Okay. So it looks like we've been ranging for the past, how long is this? When is this? This is July this year. For the past full year, we can see that price has kind of just been creating a bunch of noise around this central liquidity level that was established based on these pivots back here, which is around the $5 mark. So halfway to 10. And then we can see it set the top limit up at 10. So these liquidity captures on Liquidity IQ tell us that, yeah, there's a ton of accumulation happening at $5. And big shareholders, I guess, or traders in general, were trading a lot whenever it tries to cross above or below the $5 mark. And right now, it looks like we're in one of those moments where we crossed above $5. And what I notice here is, contrary to say back here, or back here, this was the most gradual crossing of $5 with the least amount of liquidity captures that we've seen. So that's kind of, to me, a bullish thing. I want to take a look at 1, 2, 3 strike and divergence cloud and put them with their optimized settings. Divergence cloud, what? 0% on those settings. Let's take a look. It must have only had a couple trades, and those trades did not work out. Okay, so now we've got divergent cloud and 1, 2, 3 strike with high win rates on the long side. So even though this symbol is just tends to range a bunch, it doesn't really seem to make long-lasting trends. These indicators are still getting high win rates whenever they trigger a long signal. And what we've seen recently is when price came down to this support near almost $4.50, it had a long bounce set up right here. Then we had that divergence cloud signal, which was a confluence sign that we're going to drift up off support. This divergence cloud signal went long, once we came up to $5, right when we hit the $5 mark, 1, 2, 3 strike went long. Now 1, 2, 3 strike is actually still long. And just for out of curiosity's sake, I am going to turn on Volatility Crusher, and I want to see what it's saying, right? Why not take all of their input into account? So Volatility Crusher actually is even more crazily bullish. So this is really nice. So we came down to support, we came up, Volatility Crusher signaled along right on the bar that broke through $5, and it set its targets at $5.60 and $5.88. 1, 2, 3 strike went long right on $5. We came up, we hit both those targets. 1, 2, 3 strike is still long, and now Volatility Crusher went long again. It doesn't have that good of a win rate for Volatility Crusher, but every single indicator is long. What I would be thinking here in terms of a swing trading setup is we just broke through a resistance. We do have a resistance up here, but if price comes back down to this broken support level, which is the $5 mark, if it enters into this little box, it's probably a good reward to risk trade to try entering long a little bit, expecting that we will bounce and continue up. But that would be bucking the trend of, the past however many months of price just ranging. And maybe this is the time that it does go.
Yeah. And Nick,
a lot of bullish signs here.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tricky stock, this one. Nicholas, keep this up for a second. There came a question in by Kevin. He wanted to know, why do you sometimes hide some of the indicators, not keep them all on the chart at the same time? I think the easy answer for this, Kevin, is that it just sometimes can be a bit overwhelming if you have all the signals on the chart. And a cluttered chart leads to a cluttered mind, which sometimes prevents you from making clear trading decisions. This is why oftentimes we like to see, even though you may use all three indicators in one capacity or the other, it's not always great to have them all on the chart all the time, because it makes it a bit messy and a bit harder to see what is actually going on. But that's the only reason. And I guess everybody has its own style of doing this. I personally prefer a cleaner chart, so does Nicholas. This is why he was hiding some of these indicators at times.
Yeah, I just wanted to see what's going on one piece at a time.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. So with this, I'm gonna switch over one more time back to my, if I can find it, back to my screen. All right, guys. So if you have any last minute questions, now is the time to ask them. And once again, a quick reminder, if you want to take advantage of this limited time offer, this lifetime offer, simply go to tradingindicators.com/brew. We'll show you all the details about this offer, either for the version where you pick one indicator or where you pick all three of them. Okay. So with this, if there are no more questions, all right, then this just leaves me at saying thank you so much, Nicholas, for all your great demos. I think they were amazing. I already look forward to the bootcamp, where we can really dive into the specifics of these indicators and how they combine with each other in much more detail. And if there was a question which we left out, then please email us or contact or send us a message through our homepage. Go to tradingindicators.com. In the main menu, you will see a contact item. Click on it. It will open up a contact form. Put your question there. It will go straight to my inbox, and we're going to get back to all your questions as soon as we can. And once again, if you are one of our members who already owns one of these indicators, just simply send us a note, and we're going to take it from there. All right. So with this, I thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you so much for taking your time today out of your evening to listen to us talk. I hope you found it useful, and hopefully we will be able to welcome you on board anytime soon. With this, have a great evening. Happy Halloween, everyone. Enjoy trick-or-treating, and yeah, we're going to talk soon. And there's one more question that came in. What's the difference between Divergence Cloud and MA Rush? Stephen wants to know. So MA Rush is another indicator of ours. It's just two different indicators. One that gives you concrete entry signals, which may forecast reversals and pullbacks, whereas MA Rush is like a long-term trend indicator, which is does a multi-term multi-time frame analysis of the overarching trend. So two different indicators, Stephen, meant for two different purposes. All right, perfect. So with this, thank you very much. Have a great evening and talk to you soon. Bye-bye, guys.